Spooky Month is back again, so we're going to talk about the Halloween banner in Fire Emblem Heroes today. This year we got ults for Lethe, Askr, Na, plus a harmonic pair of Nagi and Idunn. We'll talk about everyone's stats and skills, plus discuss general playstyle and build ideas. The 4-star focus for this banner is Halloween Lethe. You can get her at 4-star and 5-star rarity. I like Lethe, but this is her second season ult. Where's my Randolph ult? 10 systems. This time, Lethe will be a Blue Beast Cavalier though. For stats, she has 40 HP, 44 attack, 47 speed, 35 defense, and 24 res, speed and res super boons, and the usual speedy offensive spread with higher defense than res focus. For ult skills, Lethe has Dragon Fang as her special. She brings attack and speed clash 3, which can lead into the tier 4 or excel. Also, speed and defense near trace 3 if you want to inherit the new tier 4. Very basic attack and speed booster with Kanto setup. Lethe has the Hungry Cat Fang. Every turn she gets -1 cooldown if her special is at max cooldown, aka Times Pulse. Lethe has excited specials to synergize. If above 25% HP, Lethe gets bonus stats equal to 5 plus the number of foes within 3 rows or 3 columns times 3. Have 3 enemies in range for up to plus 14 to all stats. In addition, Lethe gets full no follow-up effects, she gets no guard, and she has full damage reduction piercing specials for non-special skills. Last, after combat, if Lethe's specials at max cooldown, grant -1 cooldown. This banner's shared theme is Times Pulse 4. Lethe has a very simple special spamming setup. You got Slang plus Times Pulse to pre-charge, no guard to always gain cooldown in battle, and then DR piercing specials to put on the hurt. After combat, Lethe always ensures she's back to -1 cooldown. With her good speed and no follow-up, she has a good chance to double. She can pre-charge 2 cooldown specials, so potential for 2 special activations if hit back. If Lethe transforms, she can add 30% DR and attack and defense debuffs when on the move. Works nicely with her Clash skill. For playstyle, Lethe is a prime abuser of momentum. Times Pulse Slang Weapon and Momentum's instant cooldown can be deadly. If Lethe moves 3 spaces, that pre-charges a DR piercing Dragon Fang, and she gets extra true damage to use with her doubles. If you want to go for a different route, Lethe can use area effect specials too. You may want flat attack boosters and it'll be tougher to maneuver compared to Sigurd's 5 movement. However, you could use his Emblem Ring to gain 4 movement, extra special damage, and Kanto 3. Very good user of the newest tools around. Lethe actually has 2 other cooldown skills she can utilize. Beast Threaten is also a Times Pulse effect, so she can pre-charge 3 cooldown specials. With attack and speed wild, Lethe can get Breath type cooldown. Thanks to Slang, she can recharge 3 cooldown specials in combat if hit back. This means her follow-up attack can also be another 3 cooldown special. Be warned, the cooldown levels can get messed up though after that first fight. There's a new Beast special called Sturdy Beast. We'll talk about it more, but basically this is a bonfire with 40% unpierceable DR. One of the conditions is needing to transform. The Beast Sacred Seal can take care of this, or Lethe can use a Beast skill. Weapon covers most beast skill effects, but Beast Sense is a dodge option that can stack with her weapon's percent DR as well as Sturdy Beast itself. For lower cooldown specials, Momentum can help offset scale effects. If you want Kanto, there is Beast Near Trace, or you can just use an Alarm C skill which also has self buffs. Clash is fine for negating debuffs, or go for Excel if Lethe needs to take hits. For other fun skills, Flare to Surge Sparrow for initiations, Desperation 4 to go with no follow-up, Potent or Assassin Strike for just damage. Even Attack Wave N can work, Insight's fine, Fatal Smoke 4 can also ensure damage sticks. Unfortunately, not the best attuned skill options for Cavaliers. Guard is okay perk to have, but maybe just wait for something else. All in all, very cool 4-star focus unit. You can just pop DR piercing 2 cooldown specials all the time, but if you want to add another cooldown skill, you can get this up to 3 cooldown specials or even 4 cooldown with something like Momentum, at least for one time. Great example of a unit who can also utilize Emblem Sigurd very well. Our next seasonal is Halloween Lord Askr. The bull is back to being a colorless beast infantry. For stats, Askr has 42 HP, 48 attack, 16 speed, 48 defense, and 45 resistance. Like Idunn, Askr is just ultra min-maxed for low speed, and he'll have a defense super boon since he does utilize his defense stat once again. For old skills, it seems like Brave Alphonse picked up very opening from his late god. As a refresher, this is basically guard with flat DR and true damage scaling off 10% defense. If the user doesn't follow up or brave attack, you get 20% scaling instead. Askr's other skill is Distant Bonus Doubler. They are just handing distant counter out like candy these days. Askr's weapon is the Horn of Harvest. If you're familiar with skill effects, this weapon has built-in Bulwark and Breath of Life 4. Basically, he will block foes from running past him, and he grants max HP % healing at start of combat. Higher defense means more healing as well. For his own combat, Askr has accelerated specials. If foe initiates or has more than 75% HP, he inflicts attack and defense debuffs equal to 6 plus the number of allies within 3 spaces times 3. If 3 allies are in range, Askr can inflict a max minus 15 attack and defense. He then keeps his signature 20% defense as true damage and flat DR. Interesting to note, the flat DR applies to AoE specials. Usually that's not the case. Askr also gets Breath of Life for his healing himself without being near allies. Generally speaking, Halloween Askr is going to be a bulky dude, he's going to heal a lot, and if transformed, then Askr gets tempo to pair with his slaying weapon. Stacking defense will be a good idea as per usual, and he's a fairly annoying frontline unit to face. Askr has a new unique C skill called Connected World. If Askr is within 2 spaces of anyone, not from Fire Emblem heroes, he transforms. If transformation conditions are met, then Askr also transforms immediately when defending in Aether raids. At start of either phase, if within 3 spaces of an ally from any other title, Askr grants 5 effects to his team. From Open Domain, Askr gives Time's Pulse plus his Resonance Blades and Shields statuses. New additions will be plus 6 attack and defense and the 50% DR piercing status. Like Lethe, Askr actually updates to Time's Pulse 4 support. For his own combat, if you're near an ally, he's also going to get plus 5 attack, defense and res, and 40% DR. He also will get that TP4 effect as well. Connected World is very good. The Time's Pulse 4 effect as a support perk I think is new, and we just got Time's Pulse Echo, which should stack with the effect. Askr plus TP4 plus TP Echo gives anyone minus 3 cooldown, pretty wild stuff. This skill also lets Askr transform and buff immediately for Aether Raid's defense. This can help against turn 1 strategies. Adding a 3rd status to his support does mean Mythic Loki sort of hard counters this skill. Also, people may have picked up the Tina Forma, although Askr can rebuff, so both teams will just have all the same effects. Halloween Askr brings a new inheritable beast special. As mentioned earlier, Sturdy Beast is a 3 cooldown bonfire type special if transformed. If you're not, it's slightly weaker. It then has 40% unpierceable damage reduction. Like usual, someone special must be ready or have triggered. The Sturdy Beast user must also be transformed, or they need to be within 4 defense of the foe. For obvious reasons, transforming is the easiest way to use this skill. Otherwise, you need high defense because if the foe out-defenses your user, you can't get the percent DR. That can be an issue for someone like Lethe, so plan around transformation skills or Beast Sacred Seal. As an example, the special is hilariously good on Nir's Keaton, who got a refine recently. Keaton doesn't have a slang effect, so Sturdy Beast works with Lagu's friend, and he has flat DR on his weapon. Maybe he got Time's Pulse Echo as well. Good lord. On a related note, Halloween Askr cannot use Sturdy Beast with Lagu's friend due to his slang effect. Lagu's friend is good, great even, but flat DR is strongest paired with percent DR. You could use Ignis for more punch, but Askr would be less tanky. Not sure if worth. This is why Askr has Reopening instead. Assuming he transforms, he's going to have Tempo. Connected World knocks Sturdy Beast down to 1 cooldown. Askr will get hit, he replies with Sturdy Beast and 50% DR piercing. Like Alphonse, Askr doesn't plan to double, so Reopening with Horn of Harvest should equate to 40% defense's flat DR and true damage. If the enemy doesn't have a special, their first hit won't trigger Sturdy Beast's 40% DR. However, Connected World gives its own 40% regular DR. Most fully piercing DR effects are tied to specials, in which case Sturdy Beast will trigger from the enemy. Either way, you still need to chew through Askr's high defense and res, plus he inflicts attack debuffs on top. He self-buffs attack and defense, which is doubled via bonus doubler, and that grants distant counter too. As a frontliner, Askr has Bulwark to stop mobile units, and then you got Breath of Life for sustain. Askr may open the gates, but getting through them is another story. For other skills, you can go with other A skills like Finish or Fortifications if you still want DC. Fortifications can be good if Askr's in a stalemate, but to have distant counter without fighting, you're going to want a Divine Vein deployer. If you keep D bonus doubler, you can stack with the Sacred Seal, try to get those res field buffs. For Sacred Seals, Finish is fine, or you can use Squad Ace for HP. In the B slots, you could do Nelsie Disrupt. Counter War also works, but most are going to stick with the flat DR option. Overall, if you liked Askr's Time's Pulse support, then this ult has an upgraded version with the tier 4, and 50% DR piercing, and Breath of Life 4. On top of that, he's just very bulky with a new unpierceable percent DR option, and stacking flat DR like usual. We had a bit of a departure from Dragon Halloween last year, but since 2024 is the year of the dragon, it's back with 2 new additions. Our very first Halloween banner had Noe, and 7 years later, we now have Halloween Na. Now it'll be a green armored dragon this time. For stats, she has 53 HP, 47 attack, 18 speed, 49 defense, and 45 res. Na has defense res super boons. While she isn't beating Marnie's 50 base defense, Na's a trainee and has 212 BST. She is 2 BST bins above Marnie because, 5-star premium unit, and of course, now be our new highest BST unit in the game. For old skills, Na has Armored Blaze and Earthfire boost. Both of those are on Valentine's Ephraim, and Armored Blaze is also on Winter Edelgard. Na has the Stone Delight's Dragonstone, 16 might. Every turn, Na gets -1 cooldown, and if her max HP is higher than her allies, then they also get -1 cooldown. This is not times pulse, this one procs at any cooldown value every time. For combat, Na has Slang. If within 3 spaces of an ally, she inflicts attack, defense, and res debuffs on the foe, equal to 5 plus the number of allies within 3 spaces, times 3. If there are 3 nearby allies, Na inflicts up to -14 to those stats. Now, if Savior triggers, this is automatically -14 debuffs. Na then has true damage and flat damage reduction equal to X. X is the HP comparison with foes, except Na compares her max HP to the foe's current HP. She always gets a base 8 flat DR and true damage, but if Na has 9 or more HP, she gets higher value up to 16. In addition, Na has the regular Scally effect, and like other banner units, she has times pulse 4s after combat -1 cooldown. Basically, Na wants to stack HP to give an infantry pulse type support, except this applies to all unit types and it procs every turn, so she can charge an entire team special if you wait a few turns. For battle, Na compares max HP to the enemy's current HP. If she has 16 or more HP, she gets 16 flat DR and true damage. On top of stacking HP, Na wants high resistance. For Scowl, she has a good base res plus can inflict res debuffs to help out. Na will bring a new dragon-only B skill called Dragon's Scales. This is an offshoot for Dragon's Ire 3. If foe initiates or unit has more than 25% HP, inflict attack, defense, and res debuffs on the foe equal to 4 plus the greater of difference between defense or res stats compared with the foe. I believe this is an on-field flat stat comparison, and you can use the better result. If the dragon has 7 or more defense or res than the foe, you can inflict the max -11 debuffs. In addition, unit gets a free follow-up attack. They gain -1 cooldown before the foe's first attack, and they gain 50% DR piercing for all attacks. Dragon's Scales doesn't have offense in the follow-up anymore, but it can grant a lot more debuffs, and it's basically a mini Lagu's friend. It doesn't have any cooldown requirements, and it can obviously be used on non-infantry. Lagu's friend is not going to be replaced, but this can be an option for dragons with slang, but still want to use something like Dragon's Roar. This could be an interesting option for the slower Moospool and Mer type dragons, but since there's a flat stat check, it will naturally benefit the tanky min-maxed armor dragons like Na. Try to utilize field buffs and debuffs though to get the -11 in combat debuff. This banner also introduces the first tier 4 savior skills. They are direct upgrades from their tier 3 stat variants. Defense res twin near save will need defense res near save 3 for example. This upgrade has separated the combat perks from the actual savior effect. As usual, 2 space range for saving allies from melee initiators. The user does not need to use savior to get these combat effects though. Like before, you get +4 defense and res, and new to this skill is 7 HP healing on hit. A new mechanic added to the tier 4 saviors is that any reduced damage by X% skills that could only be triggered once per combat via a special can now be triggered twice per combat. That's the twin part of the name. This effect will not work for Emblem Ike's Ring, that will stack for the first attack but not with the second activation. As an example, Armed Blaze has 40% DR that only triggers once. Twin Save lets it trigger on a second hit, like from a Brave attack or a follow-up. This is not like Hardy or Shield Fighter, where it's activating the percent DR twice for one hit. Twin Save is more about reducing a second attack while still having that damage special. This doesn't actually make the user tankier if you were only getting hit once in the first place though. Keep that in mind. Halloween Na introduces a lot of new stuff. She provides -1 cooldown every turn if she has higher max HP than her teammates. She can get extra flat DR and true damage if she has higher HP than the foe. Na has naturally high base HP boosted by Earthfire boost, and you can add a Squad Seal to hit 63 HP with no other effects. For combat, Na's a near savior. For her slaying and times +4 effects, she always puts Armored Blaze on 1 cooldown. Before the foe attacks, Dragon's Scales grants -1 cooldown. This activates the unpierceable 40% DR, and Na has Scowl if she wins the res track. She can counter with Armored Blaze and gets 50% DR piercing. Twin Save can grant 7 HP healing on hit, and if the foe follows up, then they get the 40% DR from Armored Blaze again. If not stopped, Na has her own follow-up herself. Rinse and repeat. For other skills, Shield or Hardy Fighter should be the better survivability setup, but you're going to give up any kind of KOing power. You could do Canny Fighter, but Unpierceable % DR and Flat DR have kind of been all the rage currently. If you want to double down on Scowl, that's fine. Going heavy on res stacking also works for Dragon Roar, but you should only use that skill if Na wants to fight everyone with Distant Counter. If you're only going for near or far save only, then just use the armored specials. All in all, Halloween Na is going for a half defensive, half offensive savior setup. Dragon Scales is more about damage, but it can trigger special based % DR skills like on Armored Blaze. The new Twin Savior skills directly affects those type of specials, but it does not make the user tankier for one hit. If you have an Armored Dragon, this Na basically provides a whole near save skill set for inheriting. If you were building a certain Miraculous X army unit, you can use everything here except Dragon Scales. Our last unit for today is Harmonic Halloween Nagi and Idunn. Double Armored Dragons for this banner. Harmonic Nagi would be a red option. For stats, she has 49 HP, 48 attack, 17 speed, 45 defense, and 48 res. Another super tanky dragon. Nagi will have a res super boon, which I believe will tie her for the highest res in the game with a couple others. For old skills, Nagi has Dragon's Roar and Attack and Res Scowl 4. She also has Dragon's Scales, so I'm not going to repeat myself again. For Nagi's opposing stones, this looks like a mess, but luckily it's pretty much just what it says on the box. This 16-mite weapon grants +4 attack, defense, and res to allies within 3 spaces during their combat, and after, you restore 7 HP to those allies. For Nagi, she has Times Pulse 4, she has 80% DR against AoE specials, and the Raven Tome effect, so weapon triangle advantage against colorless foes. Nagi has Distant Counter, Dragon Effectiveness, she neutralizes armor effectiveness, and then Sling. If foe initiates or has more than 75% HP, Nagi inflicts the same in-combat debuffs as Na, up to -14 attack, defense, and res if near 3 allies or if you trigger Savior. Nagi will then get 20% res as flat DR, she heals 7 HP after combat, and then the after combat -1 cooldown of Times Pulse 4. Harmonic Nagi will retain her original niche of just spiting AoE specials. Idunn will help negate armor effectiveness. You then got Distant Counter, debuffs, and Times Pulse with Slang. With Dragon's Roar and Dragon Scales, Nagi basically has the same game plan as Na. If you want to save your ball it up though, Nagi can also provide 3 space drive buff with after combat healing. Since we mentioned Savior, Nagi brings Attack and Res Twin Far Save, basically the exact same upgrades for Far Save as Near Save. You need Attack and Res Far Save 3 to inherit this tier for upgrade. Like their weapon, Nagi and Idunn's Harmonized Scale is just a bajillion separate effects, +6 Attack and Res Field Buffs, Resonant Shields, neutralizes effective against dragons, Warp Bubble, full penalty cleanse, and a 30 HP heal. This will affect everyone from Mart's Games or Binding Blade. The most interesting part is giving Warp Bubble to multiple units since it's very rare. While Nagi is a savior, if you need to spread out, this can help prevent a teammate from getting ganged up on. If you got multiple dragons, negating dragon effectiveness can be good, and Nagi can negate both of her weaknesses for 1 turn. In general, if you're doing a lot of fighting, the penalty cleanse and 30 HP heal is also really nice to just reset for the next turn. For the most part, Harmonic Nagi and Idunn have the same general combat game plan as Halloween Na. Slang and Times Pulse puts Dragon's Roar on 1 cooldown. Before they get hit, Dragon's Scales charges the special, which procs the 40% unpierceable DR. Nagi has Scowl to uncharge enemy special, and if she survives, she retaliates with a 50% DR piercing, Dragon's Roar. Twin Save adds 7 HP healing on hits, and it can trigger Dragon's Roar's % DR again. If not stopped, Nagi can follow up, and then after combat she heals 7 HP. What makes Nagi stand out is her various negations to specific counters. For example, 80% DR against specials is very strong for a savior. If she gets Breath of Life support, AoEs aren't doing anything to her. You then got the no armor effectiveness and triangle advantage against colorless foes. Nagi also provides a lot of utility. She grants +4 stats and 7 HP sustain to nearby allies when they fight. With the Harmonized Skill, Nagi can set up Warp Bubble on allies and negate Dragon Effectiveness. She can penalty cleanse and give it 30 HP heal to reset. Of course, if you can't use the Harmonized Skill, then there's a fair bit lost here. For other skills, if you only plan to far save, Armored Float is better. However, Dragon's Roar works against melee and ranged matchups, but it requires that res check win. If Nagi's gonna run Scowl, then you should be winning the res check, and Dragon Scales helps with both of those skills. For whatever reason, if you don't need Scowl, boost for HP is good, same with Squad Ace Seals, Shield Fighter for pure survivability, but like Na, you basically have no retaliation damage. To be fair, Shield Fighter builds ideally want Emblem Mark to abuse Aegis or Pavis, otherwise you aren't going to get that much more % DR compared to Dragon's War's 40%. Now, the new Twin Far save can cover brave hits or follow-ups, so it isn't that bad against continuous hits. However, Nagi and Na may want Hardy Bearing to get their turn to attack. If you want to counter sweep skills, Ice Tribe Felicia can give that to the 2 new armor saviors, and she can neutralize dragon effectiveness. Nagi would have no weaknesses without needing that harmonized skill, and Felicia kind of just adds to Nagi's long list of anti-counter measures. Besides the new skills, Nagi doesn't bring new mechanics herself, it's just like 10 to 15 individual effects all in one pot. Like your stash of Halloween candy after trick-or-treating, you got your standard brand name candy bars, and then you got a couple super niche but tasty rare treats. That would be it for this banner breakdown. Even if you don't run the secondary % dare specials, Twin Far Save is still a good upgrade because of the on-hit healing, it's just more HP enemies need to get through. Next up, we're talking about the Tempest Trials, and Halloween Yarn is the reward unit. We'll talk about it more then. Thank you for watching though, good luck on your summons, and I will see you in the next video.